Hey everyone, it is Maya, and first I just want to thank all of you guys who have been watching the previous videos and supporting me in all of them. I cannot begin to explain how thankful I am. I'm coming at you with a video that was highly requested, and it is kind of like a how I got into Harvard plus all of the other 8 schools that I got accepted into, as well as just a college Q&A. Before I get into these questions, I do want to set a little bit of a disclaimer. Harvard and most of these schools do not want a student that they already have, and this video is not intended to be a formula, but rather just a single example of a student that was accepted and what I did to become accepted. If it was formula based and they had a specific student that they had in mind, then all of those students would make it into institutions such as Harvard, but that is not the case. So I just wanted to preface that just because these endeavors worked for me doesn't mean that it is going to work for everyone, but I strongly encourage you guys to just listen to this video and see if it could give you any insight as to what it took for me to be accepted into Harvard, Yale, and a plethora of other schools. But without further ado, let's get straight into the video. The single most common asked question was my stats and extracurriculars. So as for stats, SAT was not required to be submitted. I did submit it and I did perform extremely well, perfect score on math and really high score on English. I'm not going to say my exact score because I do not feel that that played any role in how I got into Harvard. Okay, so now moving on to all of the AP examinations that I took. I took AP Art History, AP Biology, AP Calculus AB, AP Calculus BC, Computer Science Principles, AP Physics C Mechanics, AP Psychology, AP English Language and Composition, AP Psychology, AP Spanish Language and Culture, AP Statistics, and AP United States History. And then I also did take honors courses in most math classes, science classes, chemistry, physics, Spanish classes. So that all did work to boost my GPA. At my school, we did not have a weighted GPA. However, dependent on the calculators that I was using, the GPA did come out to about a 4.6 or 4.7 depending on the platform used. But I did have a 4.0 unweighted. So now in terms of the extracurriculars, which I think are even more so important than those academics when it comes to trying to get into competitive schools. Rather, what did you do outside of what is required of you that proves you to be a future leader of the world? Beginning with tennis, that was one of my main commitments throughout high school. I started playing tennis in high school. Freshman year was my first year. I worked really hard the summer before, and I was actually appointed as junior varsity captain my freshman year. And then sophomore year, I made it to varsity and continued to play. My junior year, I also made it to varsity and actually became a first team tennis player as well as a CIF finalist. So it was a really great season for me. And then in the beginning of my senior year, I was appointed as the varsity captain as well. The largest thing that I did throughout high school was something called Key Club International. It was a student-led volunteer organization where we just helped our community in any way possible, as well as funded many different charities such as the Pediatric Trauma Program, UNICEF, MNT. So my freshman year, I was appointed as Director of Activities. My sophomore year, I was club secretary and art division merchandise coordinator. And then in my junior year, which led through senior year, I was appointed as the Key Club president. So it was definitely a club that I worked really hard in, devoted so much of my time to. And in that aspect of community service, I served over 650 hours in the span of about 3.5 years. As a sub note for that, being a president during the pandemic was incredibly difficult because fundraising, as per usual, couldn't be achieved. Therefore, I took it upon myself to start my own sticker business, Maya's Makes, and I donated all of the proceeds to the Pediatric Trauma Program. I was able to learn so much in terms of actually making the stickers at my house with my silhouette machine, cutting them with that machine, shipping them out, doing all of the payment processing, donating it to my division. I alone was able to raise a large amount to give to the charity, which was one of the biggest accomplishments that I definitely had. I was also a member of Young Black Scholars, as well as the vice president of the Spanish National Honor Society my senior year. I think that it is super important to not only strive to be good in your academics, but also embrace your culture, learn to love it, learn to gain more knowledge about it, and hopefully express and share that with other members of your school, which was something that I was definitely trying to do with both of those clubs. I was also a private tutor all 4 years of high school. I'm still private tutoring to this day. One of the biggest things that I started throughout high school was my involvement with a company called California Educational Centers, which is an educational company in which I was first appointed as the intern executive assistant for blind CEO Brian Tom, who is the head of the whole company. And essentially what I was responsible for doing was just shadowing his assistant, learning about how to run the business, learning about all of the backbones that it takes to operate a business. Again, this started as an internship, but about 2 or 3 months into the internship, the private assistant that I was shadowing left, and Mr. Tom put his trust in me and appointed me as his executive assistant, which continued to be an internship until April of 2020, where I was able to become a fully paid executive assistant. As I said before, Mr. Tom is blind, therefore I essentially served as his eyes. I was responsible for everything business related, from processing payroll to seeking out pandemic assistance, to definitely helping transition the company from a brick and mortar system to a online platform that continue to thrive in an online setting. I was with CEC for a very long time, learned so much, but being able to go from an intern to a fully paid staff member, working about 80 hours a month or more, was such an amazing experience. I was able to learn so much about the operations of a business. I was also commended as a distinguished secretary in Key Club. Another thing that I did was in my junior and senior year, I was the coach for the Whitman Math Olympiad team, which was a local elementary by my high school. I taught students weekly on math, and we went and participated in huge competitions nationwide, and for both of the years that I was the coach, we made it into the top 10% of the nation. And another thing that I did was in the summer of 2020, alongside running Key Club, alongside doing Maya's Makes, alongside working for Brian Tom, I also attended Stanford summer classes. I took a calculus course there. I was able to become really close with the professor as well. So I think that about covers all of the extracurriculars that I did. I might have forgotten a few. So now moving on to the next question. Did you get a scholarship? Yes, I did in fact get a scholarship. As many of you know, the tuition for Harvard is incredibly expensive, and I would not be here without the additional support of the scholarships given both by Harvard as well as outside scholarships. On that note, there was another question. When should you start applying for scholarships? Now, whether you are a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, there are going to be scholarships available. It might be harder for the freshmen, sophomores, and juniors, but for seniors, now is the time to apply. Apply to every scholarship you can, any opportunity that you have. You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take, so I would say just go for it. What was the thing that got you into Harvard? I got this question so many times, and to be honest, I will never know what the thing was that got me into Harvard. Whether it was my essay, whether it was my stats, extracurriculars, I don't know. But what I do know is that I worked so incredibly hard all throughout my high school journey. Another question is it better to be involved in many extracurriculars or focus on 2 to 3? I would say involve yourself in the extracurriculars that matter to you. Not that matter to anyone else, not that look good, but matter to you. They don't want to see that you're a member of hundreds of things, but rather a leader in things that matter to you. As you heard, I personally did have a ton of extracurriculars. I loaded myself with a lot, but I cared so deeply about each and every one of them, which allowed me to grow. I would say focus your attention on what matters, and you will see how much it will truly impact the way that you are able to succeed in these extracurriculars, which is what they want to see. They want to see that leadership skill and your ability to take on challenges and thrive. Another question is, how do you not overwhelm yourself? This is a great question. I did get overwhelmed. I'm not gonna lie. I had a lot on my plate at all times. It was a lot, but I loved them all. And even though I had times where I was like, I don't know if I can do this anymore, I just thought about long term. I've always believed in the saying, work hard now, play later. By doing everything that I did, I'm one step closer to my dreams. Just think about that. Also, give yourself time for yourself. At the end of my senior year, I started devoting time to going to the gym, cooking, reading, singing, dancing. Give yourself the time to just be you, not attached to anything else, and I promise it will relieve your stress so much. How did you come up with an essay topic? It was very hard. It took so much time, so many days and weeks of just thinking and contemplating. But at the end of the day, I came up with an essay topic that truly showcased me as an individual, my values, as well as kind of highlighted some of my successes. I definitely would say come up with an essay that is able to give much more beyond the surface level that is in your application. And that's my best piece of advice for now. And in relation to that question, will you read your college essay? Yes, I will in an upcoming video. Comment down below if that's something that you want. What is your major? So at Harvard, what we do is we declare our concentration in the second semester of freshman year, just to give ourselves a little bit of time to decide what we truly want to do. And right now, I'm kind of juggling between human and regenerative biology, as well as molecular and cellular biology. I do know that I want to go in the bio route, but which concentration I'm going to go with is definitely a question that I am answering myself right now, but I will have the answer very soon. Something that you want to improve in college. Well, in high school, I definitely gave up the opportunity to have fun as a high school student. I was always working, always devoting myself to extracurriculars, always studying. And in college, I'm fully intending to do all of that, but I also want to give myself the opportunity to just explore the small things, dances, football games, things like that, because I'm never going to get this time back. So, who proofread your essay? If I'm being honest, no one. I wrote my essay and I just thought to myself, the schools that want me should want an essay that I wrote on my own individually, that truly came from me. So I did not have a proofreader. I just trusted that what I had written on that application was me and was good enough to satisfy the readers. And here I am. What was my biggest fear in my application? Definitely not being able to truly showcase everything that I did in the amount of characters that were allotted in terms of my extracurriculars, and trying to explain everything that I truly did. It was super hard. I think I had like 350 characters and I was stressing out. But honestly, it's nothing to worry about. Just get the main ideas down, make it very clear what it is that you did as an individual in the endeavors that you did, and you'll be just fine. The next question is, what are all the schools that you got into? It was Harvard, Yale, UPenn, UCSD, UCI, UC Berkeley, UCLA, USC, and Stanford. So those were all the schools that I got into. What is the number one tip that you have for seniors? I would definitely say just because other people are applying and you know what they did in terms of extracurriculars does not mean that you have any less means to succeed when it comes to the college application process. We are all unique in our own ways, and you want to make sure that you showcase that uniqueness in your application, because more often than not, these Ivies are looking for unique individuals who don't have this formulaic thing. We all have good grades, we all have good test scores, but it's up to you to show the college admissions that you are different and that you deserve a spot in their institution. So I hope that this video helped. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.